My name is Kate Colley. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about nice guy syndrome and why it's a problem, but it's not that the niceness is a problem. I do want to mention that if you find this information valuable, please hit like and subscribe. And I also have another resource for you at the end where I talk exclusively about nice guy syndrome and also about what deeply feminine women really crave at the core of their being. We get very intimate with the things that a feminine woman craves inside the bedroom and then also outside of the bedroom, how to really be more confident in a very authentic, very heart-centered, very embodied way, and what steps you could take to really genuinely let go of that nice guy syndrome and step into that powerful masculinity and leadership that she really craves. I will put that link in the description, but let's get started. So both in and out of relationships, meaning in a relational setting and then also in a dating setting, I do see this concept called nice guy syndrome all of the time. And essentially what nice guy syndrome is a man that is trying to be nice, usually going out of his way to please other people, to please his woman, to please the person that he's dating, thinking that by being nice, it is what she wants or it'll get him what he wants. And there's really two main problems with being overly nice and nice guy syndrome. And both of these problems come from what Carl Jung describes as the shadow. The type of information that I give you, it's not just stop doing this and start doing this. I don't often rely on volition of willpower because that is a finite resource in our body. I like to get to the root to really understand, like, where is nice guy syndrome coming from? And it comes from the shadow. So what is the shadow? The shadow is the repressed aspect of you that is buried beneath the surface of your conscious mind. So your conscious mind is everything that you are aware of. It's about roughly 5% of you. And then below that, you have your subconscious and your unconscious. And it's in your subconscious mind that contains like the bulk of who you are, the bulk of your body language, the bulk of your choices, your actions, decisions on a daily basis. And so while most people think that they are in control of their lives, that they're choosing everything, that is not actually how it works. Most of your decisions, including nice guy syndrome, come from this subconscious aspect of you that you don't have like autonomy over yet. So for nice guy syndrome, there's two main components that are happening in the shadows that you're not aware of in this like subconscious process that we just talked about. And the first one is a deep fear of rejection. So when we really sit with that, a deep fear of rejection, and if you have any kind of bodily awareness, what that really is at its root is shame. So shame is a very biologically functional emotion. So it's not something that we have to necessarily get rid of. It's not something that we have to work really hard to repress or deny or ignore. What shame is it's the biological function of a human to maintain connection to the tribe, to the people around them via repressing parts of the self. And a lot of times, this fear of rejection gets like bubble wrapped in shame, and then it gets shoved way the far back in the depths of the subconscious mind. And what it does is it creates a split in the personality. And that split has one side that is the vulnerable self. And in some ways, it's almost like a childlike self that deeply fears rejection, that deeply desires to be connected to others. Now, if you imagine that this aspect of you is in the depths of your subconscious mind and your conscious mind is 5% of you, this is dictating 95% of your actions, decisions, and behaviors, which is why it is not simply enough to just stand up a little bit taller, to, fake it until you make it, to do the right things, to stop being nice, because this program inside of you is going to get louder and louder and louder the more you ignore it. And anytime there is enough of a stress level in your external environment or even in the thoughts in your head. This could be like a pretty woman that you really, really want to be accepted by. That is going to ignite some type of stress response. And the higher the stress is, the more your conscious mind's going to check out. And this subconscious program will come online. And then that fear of rejection is going to start basically like pounding in the nice guy syndrome behavior. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying not to make this too technical, but I really want you to understand where this comes from so that you have the tools and you have the keys to shift it quickly in such a massive way. So when we really understand that nice guy syndrome comes from a fear of rejection, and you understand a little bit about shadow work, then the indication after that would actually be to gain intimacy, to have closeness with the part of you that fears rejection. And what I mean by that is you're basically getting to know, loving that part of you back into wholeness so that it's not jumping aboard and like taking control of your ship or your car and driving this nice guy behavior. So the other thing that's happening in the background of your subconscious that can really drive nice guy syndrome is what is called covert contracts. And a covert contract is, here's some, like an example of it is if a man were to, really, really, really want something. Let's say he really wants a better sex life. Let's say he really wants to have sex that night. Let's say he really wants to be liked. He really wants to be seen. He really wants to be valued. So those we could call needs. So there's a need or a desire underneath it. And if he's not taking that need and desire and owning it from a place of self-worth, that's the key for actually both of the subconscious programs. But owning it from a place of really high level of self-worth and putting it on the table, here's my need and here's my desire, then no other person, meaning the woman, cannot consent to the contract. She can't consent and open her heart and her body to want to meet you there in that need or desire. So what nice guys do is that they don't have the self-worth to own what they need, want, and desire. And so instead, they start doing nice things as a backdoor manipulation tactic to get this need met. And I don't mean manipulation in a bad way. Human beings manipulate people all the time. It's kind of what they do until we really bring consciousness to it. However, when there's a covert contract on the table, it feels icky for the woman. And she might not know exactly why, but there will be a very particular feeling in her body where she knows that there's a covertness, there's a somewhat of a manipulation happening behind the scenes. So the indication to really overcome nice guy syndrome is to do the shadow work around both of those concepts. And once you've done that, you can actually really lean into this depth of masculinity that feminine women really crave. She actually craves for you to be very decisive, for you to choose, for you to bring onto the table what it is that you want and desire while also holding her needs, wants, and desires. And I do also want to say that I know that there's like some discomfort, I think, for a lot of men when a woman's like, well, we want men to do this certain thing. So I want to also put it on the table that this is a two-sided street. This is not all men. It is not all women. I think that right now in relationships and especially in the dating world, both men and women have a depth of exploration and awareness that they can really step into if they choose. So I'm not putting it all on men. It's just that you're here watching this video. And so I'm only speaking to half of the equation. But once you've really done the shadow work, some things that you can start leaning into is to just stop being overly accommodating. Really check yourself and your integrity, because your body's never going to lie to you of like, if you're doing something nice, because it's not the behavior that is the problem, it's the intention behind it. So if you're doing something nice, how does it feel in your body? Is it coming from this really solid place? Another thing that is sort of the antidote to nice guy syndrome is to stop avoiding conflict, to really show up with all of yourself to what you believe in, to conflict situations, and even to just expressing yourself really, really clearly, which requires you to really get to know yourself. And this is just a lot of the stuff outside of the bedroom. There's more stuff inside of the bedroom, of course, that will really just soften a woman. That feels really, really good to us when we know that a man is taking ownership of his own stuff inside of him. It almost like gives us this feeling of like, great, well, then he'll also be able to take ownership in some way to take into consideration our hearts and our needs and our desires. So, like I said, if you want the expanded, detailed, all of the juicy, intimate information about what it is that feminine women crave at the core of their being, definitely click the link below, turn-ons that feminine women crave in and out of the bedroom. And then on that page, there's another little button at the very end where I have a fantastic ebook called The Nice Guy's Guide to Getting the Girl. So this is for you if you are single and you want really detailed information about what to do to start to walk yourself out of nice guy syndrome, the 4 pillars of flirting, what women look for in the first 3 seconds of meeting you, all of that good stuff. So click the link below, hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.